Okay, students, welcome to this new video. In this video, we're going to see how to state or how to formalize the different phonological rules that we have been studying until now. Okay, first of all, we need to remember that a phonological rule is a formal way of expressing a systematic phonological or morphophonological process or diachronic sound change in language. You can appreciate in this image here different symbols, different names, technical names that you have already studied in the previous videos. If you don't understand this topic about, for example, minus continuant, plus alveolar, plus vowel, plus stressed, and so on, then you need to go back and watch those videos in order to master this topic, which is very interesting and important in this bachelor, okay, in this course, Introduction to Linguistics. So don't worry, because I'm going to explain the different symbols that we see here. Okay, let's continue with the next slide. Okay, stating a phonological rule, in order to apply this process, first we need to know the sound or sounds that are going to be affected by the rule. Okay, the sound or sounds affected by the rule. The next step is to know how the sound is or are affected by the rule. And also in the third place, we have the environment. The environment is very important because, you know, some phonemes behave in one way, and when they are in another environment, they can behave in another and different way. So the environment or environments in which the sounds occur is something that we have to take into account when stating a phonological rule. So, for example, of a rule, we have this one. L or lateral, okay, becomes velarized when it occurs before a back vowel, before a low vowel, or word finally. Okay, so this is the rule of velarization, right? Do you remember that rule? That lateral, okay, the L sound becomes velarized when it occurs before a back vowel, before a low vowel, or word finally. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, I'm going to skip this part. Okay, we are going to see the different symbols that we are going to use to establish or to state the notation of the different rules. Okay, you are already familiarized with this symbol, which is plus, okay, plus the feature that follows is present in the sound or sounds. So when you see this symbol, you already know that when you see this symbol, the features that it represents is present, okay, is present. Okay, and when you see this symbol here, minus, it means that the feature that follows is absent in the sound or sounds, right? And also this symbol here, the arrow, means becomes, or it's pronounced, or it's changed to, etc. Okay? When you see the slash means that in the environment of. So let's go back for you to see this, okay? For example, in this one, we have this rule, okay? The flap rule, it says that t and d become flapped when they occur between a stressed and unstressed vowel. So t and d are represented this way. Remember that minus continuant because they are stop sounds, and they are plus alveolar, they are alveolar sounds. This arrow here means becomes, okay? These two sounds becomes flapped, remember, become flapped when they are in the environment, of a stressed vowel, and, okay, and an unstressed vowel. Remember, for example, here plus vowel means that this sound is a vowel, and plus stressed means that this vowel is stressed in that position. On the contrary, this here is also a vowel, but it is not stressed. So that means it is minus stressed. So this rule here, this rule that you are seeing here, is represented using this symbology, okay? These symbols, different symbols, to represent this rule here. So what I'm explaining now in this column, in this chart, are the different symbols that we're going to use to represent the different rules, phonological rules. So this slash means in the environment of. This dash means before or after, before or after. Okay, when you have a dash plus a double cross, it means word finally, and when you have the double cross and also a dash, okay, to the right, okay, that means word initially. But when you have a dash plus the dollar sign, okay, that means syllable finally. And when you have that same symbol, but after that symbol you have a dash, that means syllable initially. You know, this terminology here is used in the different rules that we are seeing, that we are studying. This symbol means deleted, means that the sound becomes deleted. When you see this, okay, this symbol, it means that it collapses, okay? It collapses or combines two or more rules. Because, for example, when you have the rule, this one, okay, this one here, becomes velarized when it occurs before a back vowel. That means that it is an environment. Before a low vowel, that is another environment. Or word finally, that means that it is another environment. So in this case, it represents that the rule collapses in that way. But we're going to see that later when I explain some other examples, okay? So don't worry for now. This symbol here means similar elements. The V means vowel, and when you see two V's together, that means that one vowel is next to the other, right? Or the two vowels are together. The same case here with the consonant sounds, okay? There are some environments in which some consonants concur together. So we are going to see that when we represent the different rules in notation, okay, with symbols. So let's see the first representation of the rule that we already saw at the beginning of this presentation, right? The velarization rule. How do we represent that using symbols? Okay, it says L becomes velarized when it occurs before or a back vowel, before a low vowel, or word finally. So how do you represent, what is the feature specification of the L sound? Okay, now you know that this symbol, this phoneme, is represented saying plus lateral, right? Plus lateral. In this case, I cannot say, for example, liquid. Why? Because if I say liquid, for example, in this position, I'm also talking about the other liquid sound, which is the R, remember? Okay, we have two liquid sounds, the L and the R. Okay, but in this case specifically, I'm referring to the L sound, which is whose name is lateral. Okay, plus lateral. Then is velarized, it says becomes velarized. This arrow here means becomes velarized. Okay, how do you say velarized in notation? Well, you use the term and the symbol plus velar. Okay, the L becomes velared or velarized when it occurs. Okay, when it occurs, this slash means when it occurs before a back vowel. Back vowels are represented with the terminology or the technical name plus back, remember that, plus vowel is plus back. Before a low vowel is minus high, remember, low vowels are represented with a terminology or with a term minus high, remember that, please, minus high, or word finally, which is represented with a double cross, okay, word, this means word finally. So what I have done is to represent this group, this set of words, which is a phonological rule. I have represented that rule using these symbols, okay? So that's what you have to do from now on, okay? I'm going to give you some rules and you are going to represent them using these symbols, okay? These symbols that have a meaning, okay? You can read this rule perfectly. You can say, a lateral sound becomes velarized when it occurs before, remember the symbol, before a back vowel, a low vowel, or word finally. So let's see another example. So don't worry, people, if you don't understand in this moment. I'm sure you will do it if you practice, if you see this video sometimes, okay, several times. And people, one interesting thing here is that this process can be repeated or can be developed not only using the different phonological rules of English, but also using rules or different phonological rules in other languages, because the process is the same. The process is basically the same. For example, you know that in Spanish, for example, some people or there's a tendency in people to omit some sounds or to change those sounds for other sounds, right? For example, when people pronounced Navidad, most people don't say Navidad, but Navidad. Okay, ya viene la Navidad. La Navidad. Or some other people tend to change that final sound here, that final sound. They try to change it for another sound, which is the voiceless one, right? They say Navidad, Navidad, Navidad. Navidad is voiced, but Navidad is voiceless, right? Voiceless. So we are going to represent this rule or this phenomenon that occurs in Spanish. We're going to represent it using notation, using the different symbols that I have already explained. Okay, so the becomes devoiced, okay, devoiced, which means that this sound is changed for t, right? Devoiced, voiceless. The becomes devoiced when it occurs word finally, because this phenomenon is seen at the end of words, word finally, or at the end of a syllable. Because, for example, if I say the word advierto, some people omit, okay, or change that sound for that sound. They say advierto. Yo te advierto, advierto. People don't say I advierto, okay? They don't say that. But, okay, we are going to see the representation of this rule here, okay? These features here represent this sound, right? Because this sound is minus continuant, which means that it is a stop sound. This is plus alveolar, because this is an alveolar sound. And this is also plus voiced, because this sound is voiced. So, a voiced alveolar stop sound becomes devoiced, becomes devoiced or voiceless, which is the same, voiceless, when it occurs. Remember, this symbol means when it occurs, or in the environment of, when it occurs, word finally, or at the end of a syllable, or at the end of the syllable. So people, you can see here that I have represented this rule here, through these different symbols, okay? Okay, people, this representation here uh, is when, for example, people try to change the final sound, the final phoneme of this word for the voiceless one, which is that. Okay, but let's suppose that some people omit the final sound because some people say Navidad, Navidad, viene la Navidad. Okay, in that case, we need to change this word here for another one, which is deleted. Okay, but let's see it. Okay, the becomes deleted when it occurs word finally or at the end of a syllable. So how do we represent that rule? Okay, it is very similar to the previous one, but the only difference is that instead of saying minus voiced here, I write the symbol or I draw the symbol of deletion, of deleted, okay? This the becomes deleted when it occurs word finally or at the end of a syllable, okay? Word finally, which is represented using this double cross, and this symbol, this dollar sign, represents a syllable, the end of a syllable, because we have here the dash sound, the dash symbol, sorry. So people, this is basically what you have to do in our next activities, okay? I'm going to give you some rules and you are going to represent them, using this notation, okay? These symbols. So have a good time. See you soon. And of course, if you have any question, please let me know. I'll be there to help you, to guide you, okay? So have a good time.